my name is Tijana Coso, and we're super excited to have you here on TRF Tuesday to learn about emotional freedom technique. A couple of you are here from last week. Welcome back. So if you were here last week, I'd like to see in the chat if you actually tried tapping. So I'm going to open the chat up. If you were here last week, post in the chat if you tried tapping, how it worked, any thoughts or feedback. So I want to see that. And then for those of you who haven't tried tapping yet and who missed out, oh, it was a party last week, you missed. If you weren't here last week, I still would like to hear from you if you've heard of emotional freedom technique. And if you have you used it and what is your experience with it? So post in the chat, give us a hello. If you want to say where you are in the world, that would be great. So we can welcome everybody. So I'm not speaking to a green dot on my computer. So let's see what the chat says. So we have, oh my gosh. So Sandy said it worked. Somebody said they did it daily. Somebody said I tried it. It went well. Yay. It really calmed me. Great. So yes, so a lot of people here have used EFT. Akron, Ohio, welcome, Carla. And wow, we're going fast. Toronto, thank you for the welcome from Toronto. Missouri, welcome. And then let's see what else we have. Now, did anybody try it from who was on the call last week with the simple version that I taught you? Oh yeah, so Kathy does, can we review it today? Thank you, East Coast of Canada. So it works, Halifax, okay. So I was just curious, welcome Utah. I was just curious if somebody from last week tried it. Missed last week, Meg said, well, all of you who missed last week, there'll be an incentive for you because we're giving a free prize out at the end of the 4 weeks. So New Mexico, welcome. I just did a bunch of trainings in New Mexico, Zoom only. All right, we're gonna get started then. I have to put this down so I can't keep looking at all your wonderful messages. All right, so we're gonna get started. Close this out so I don't see all of you. And then I'll want to focus on you instead of what we're doing. So today we are going to work on emotional freedom technique. Let me close that out. All right, emotional freedom technique. It seems many of you have heard of it. That's wonderful. I don't know, maybe post in there if you've met me at a trauma conference or something. I'd like to know that too. All right, so we're going to be learning emotional freedom technique. EFT is the acronym for emotional freedom technique. We also call it tapping. Why do we call it tapping? Because we're tapping on, some people call them pressure points, some people call them acupuncture meridian points, but we're pressing on our body, we're tapping. So EFT, also called tapping, that's what we're going to be learning today. Emotional freedom technique. I was introduced to EFT when I was going through a trauma about 10 years ago, and I would never try anything that looked this weird. My friend tried to get me to try it 25 years ago when I was having a problem, and I said, oh, sure, I'm going to work on my career by tapping on my head. No, I don't think so. But thanks anyway, Paula. Good luck to you, weirdo. So anyway, I hope my best friend doesn't see this. So anyway, I wouldn't do it. And then when I was in my trauma, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I can honestly tell you that if I hadn't tried some medication for antidepressants, I would have never tried EFT because it was just too weird for me. So when you share this with other people who are like I was, don't expect them to get it right away. And I hope for their sake, they don't have to go through a trauma like I did. But that's how I found it. And I started tapping years ago. So emotional freedom technique, what I want you to do is think about this. I want you to think about, what do you want emotional freedom from? Is it a person? What is that thought that keeps going through your head every day and you keep thinking about it over and over again? Is it your child? Is it a medical problem? I want you just right now We got to do this one more exercise. I want you to post in the chat. It doesn't have to be deeply personable. It could be something like you're moving and you keep thinking about it, or you're going back to school, or you're thinking about going back to school. You're thinking about something. What is some thought that you keep thinking about in the future that goes through your head over and over again? What is it? Because I'd like to see, what do you want freedom from? It doesn't have to be a big trauma. So a future with my daughter, thinking about changing jobs. Can we just tap while if we're typing in there, feeling any anxiety, just tap right here. When will my health get better? Thank you for sharing. My supervisor, I hear that more than you'd like to know. It's too hot. Fear of death, illness. So these are things, keep going. Certain relationships. Oh my gosh, whoever posted that, I can't see names because they're going so quickly. What about those negative relationships? Okay. So I'm just tapping right now because you all are triggering me, making me think of things I don't want to think about. All right. So the health, it's all uncertainty. And these are all things, everything, everyone. Okay. Somebody just mentioned childhood, but many of you are mentioning future things that are happening in the future anxiety. Okay. So let's take a pause. If you want, you can keep posting because I will be looking at this shortly. I'm going to close out my Zoom. So those were all things that you talked about for the future. And you want freedom from it. I don't want to keep thinking about this. I don't want to keep thinking about the supervisor, the job, the conflict, my health. Do you know somebody who has an addiction? Are you worried about them? I just don't want to keep thinking about these things, right? Emotional freedom technique, there's something I can tell you about it. One is there's good news and bad news. The bad news is, yes, I don't have a magic wand to get rid of those things you all posted. So you're probably going, why did I post them if she doesn't have that magic wand? But I want to tell you the good news. And this is a promise. If you started working on self-regulation, tapping, meditation, maybe some other technique you've learned on this website, I can promise you that those things that are going around, I like to say I'm in my hula hoop, I'm in the middle, and all those things that are spinning around outside of my hula hoop, they're gonna keep spinning, right? We can't control that person over there who's driving us crazy. We cannot control them. But self-regulation, like emotional freedom technique, is going to keep us in our hula hoop. They're going to keep spinning out there. And we're going to be able to respond and react from this place right here, right now. Because I know, and I'm not, this isn't a medical class, but thinking that same anxiety thought makes you sick. And you think about it over and over again. And you don't even know what's going to happen. And that's this tapping we'll be doing today will be on future anxieties. So emotional freedom technique, I made a promise to you and I'm going to keep it. You're going to keep it if you tap, okay? Because I would like to have abs of steel, but I'm not willing to go to the gym. If you tell me, Tijana, this is going to make my life better, I'm going to say, yes, it looks weird, but it will make your life better. I'm going to do it because I'm done with my medication, or I'm not suggesting that. But for me, after I went through my trauma and tapping, I went off of it in like 2 months. So anyway, I'm not willing to get abs of steel going to the gym, but I can promise you something like this, pretty easy. And it changed my life because it broke some connections, negative connections to those things that you guys all listed. And it helped me build new connections to positive things. So that's my promise for you. Now I have to deliver. All right, let's go into emotional freedom. By the end, I can't read the chat right now, but you can post questions in the chat and Laura will help me sift through those. So before we get started, everybody grab their water. This is actually water. So grab your water. We need to be hydrated to be doing tapping. Grab your water. And if you need a piece of paper and pencil, there will be only like 10 words you'll write down, but I want you to be ready. So, so emotional freedom technique, let me read to you a super simple definition of emotional freedom technique. Emotional freedom techniques, also called tapping, because we tap on specific acupuncture meridian points on our body to release stress and anxiety so that you can come back into body presence and you can interact from the here and now and you can respond with a clear mind. Like I said, all those things in the hula hoop, you're in the middle, they're going to keep going, but you need to respond with a clear mind. So what we're going to be doing today is a self-regulation technique to bring you back into your body. I love emotional freedom technique because I can take it with me anywhere, anytime. So there's two different kinds of tap. Well, actually, a lot of people do different types of tapping. There's clinical EFT. We're not doing clinical EFT. We're doing functional EFT. We're using EFT today to learn how to ground ourselves to be in our body and to have body presence because we're trying to build this capacity to be in the present moment so that we have expanded awareness and that way we can interact from a place, an optimal place, instead of a place of less than. You know what I'm talking about when I say operating from a place of less than? You're in a situation thinking about your medical situation or somebody else's or your finances or somebody's bothering you. Your interactions aren't going to be of this body presence right here because your mind, as Dan Siegel says, is time traveling forward. So emotional freedom technique will help you ground so that you can interact from this place of calm, not a little bit of place of panic, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go over clinical EFT for 1 second. Laura and I were talking about it. I'm doing a workshop in September where it'll be for people who want to earn continuing educations to learn more of a clinical EFT. This is for you right now. And I came up with the name called functional EFT so that you can function right now. Not after you've studied, read the research. No, let me take a step back. Let me show you clinical EFT and then I'll show you functional EFT. And clinical EFT, again, is for clinicians. When I worked with addicts, people with domestic violence, foster parents, they want relief right now. They don't want help me right now. Help me with this child right now. Help me with I'm an addict. I'm gonna act out right now. Give me a tool. So I made up the name functional EFT so they can function right now and get back to thinking clearly. School systems are contacting me for this because to educate, people need to be regulated. So I always say you have to regulate to educate. So it helps you think clearly. That's something called functional EFT. You can Google it. You won't find it because it's just something I named my special brand of EFT to help people quickly function, okay? Not for clinical. Let me show you the points for clinical EFT, and then I'll show you the points of functional EFT. There's 9 points for clinical EFT. These are the traditional ones. This one's called the top of the head. Now, if you're panicking, you could easily find this online on anybody's YouTube. Plus, there's a document attached. So if you're wondering, oh, what are these clinical points? There's a document attached in the chat that you could see, and it'll be sent out in the newsletter. This point is called the top of the head. I wonder why. This point is called the eyebrow. Now, we're going to use this. Oh, no, we're not using this for functional. Eyebrow is where your skin touches your hair. You would tap. Don't worry, I'm going to go over how to tap, which hand, all those fingers. I'm just showing you the points right now. This one's called the side of the eye. Where is it? It's the side of the eye. It's where your smile lines are. Okay, I will go over these again. This one's called under the eye. Let's see which is the best way for you to see it. This one's called under the nose. It's just a mustache. This one's called the chin. We don't use the exact names in tapping. Somebody named these points, and that's what we call them. This is called the chin point. It's not the bone. It's in this little space right here under the lip. The collarbone. This is one you saw that I've been using the whole time as I was speaking to you. It's called the collarbone. Here's a bone here. It's really hard. You can feel it. You can squeeze it. Underneath it is a nice soft spot right here. This is called the collarbone. This is probably the one I use the most for me personally. Under the arm is where a woman's bra would be. And then this is top of the head. Okay, that's a lot. I can't really work with, I mean, when I'm working with people who have an addiction, when I'm working with students, they don't want all this. It's just way too much information. And we're just trying to get them to function so they could pay attention to the teacher and not worry about their social media or something like that. So I created functional EFT so that all of you can function right now. You can be grounded and you can release some of that anxiety and function right here, right now. So I will show you functional EFT. I pick 2 points and I pick the points that feel most comfortable for me. So this is called the side of the eye, right? I pick that one. I pick this one on the collarbone. Okay. Why did you pick those 2 points, Tijana? Because I'm in control and I'm a control freak. No, just kidding. That's probably true. I probably am a little bit controlling, but I got to pick them because those are the 2 I want. When you do functional EFT, you can pick whatever points you want, which ones you feel that more speak to you or something like that, or even more comfortable. I spoke with a woman who's having a problem with her wrist, so she wasn't comfortable way up here, okay? So she picked this one. All right, so functional EFT is picking 2 points, 1 point, whatever you want to do, and tapping. That's only one part of the equation. So we're going to tap, and we're going to talk, and we're going to tell the truth. Okay, we're not going to use the 9 points. We're going to pick 2 of our favorites, and we're going to tap on those. And then I'm going to tell you the rest of the process. So you're going to tap, you're going to talk, and you're telling the truth. What is the purpose of what we're doing? We're trying to ground ourselves so that we can interact from a place of peace and awareness, so that our interactions with others are I always say I like to leap from confidence or love, not less than or insecurity, okay? So you're going to pick 2 points and you're going to tap, you're going to talk, and you're going to tell the truth. The questions become, which hand? Tijana, I saw you tapping with the left hand. Are we tapping with the left hand or are we tapping with the right hand? I don't care, because here's the thing. It's physiological. It can be either hand. Your body doesn't say, oh my gosh. I mean, I know this is weird as it is, but your body doesn't talk back to you and say, oh my gosh, she used it the left hand side. She should have started on the right. It's not like that. These are sensitive pressure points that help you calm down. Okay. Your body doesn't know if you use 1 finger or 2 fingers, the side of your hand, a fist. It feels you're activating and putting pressure on a point of your body. Okay. These are the points that clinical EFT has used all of these. I just picked 2 of them to help people function right now. So the question is going to be, where do I start? How many times do I go? And your answer will always be, I need you to help me in the chat. If somebody's posting, well, should I start with my left hand? How many times did you do it? The answer is always the same. It's all good, because your body doesn't know even if you do clinical, your body doesn't know if you started up here or over here. It has no idea. It's just calming down so that you can be in your body and react from a place of strength. Okay. Now, EFT is used for a trauma, but as you saw, all those things you listed above, those emotional things you listed above, it's good for everyday things. I use it for all those things that you mentioned, and Decorating. I can't decorate. Whenever I have to go pick out a paint color, I don't go in there and say, oh my God, I can't do paint. But I can tell you what, I'm not thinking clearly because there's all these colors and geez, they all look so much the same. And then my brain starts whirling and I'm not falling on the ground having panic attacks, but I can tell you what, I'm not thinking as clearly. So I use tapping. I kind of call it a clarity booster to boost my clarity, to slow me down so that I can say, okay, let's think of how to do this. I know, I'll go ask that person over there. And that's how I go on with it. So I use tapping for all sorts of stress and anxiety throughout my day. We talked about the points. I showed you the points. And now I'm going to tell you, you tap, you talk, and you tell the truth. Before we talk about what do you say, I want you to do this. I want you to, let's get a drink of water first. I want you to think about that thing you don't want to think about. I want you to think about that thought that you keep suppressing. Maybe the one you mentioned in the chat. Close your eyes. Go into your body. What is that thought that you don't want to think about? Now, when you think about it in your head, where do you feel that in your body? You don't have to post it in the chat. Where do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in your stomach? Feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your shoulders? Okay, so now that you're thinking about it, actually, I do want to see, because I'm going to mention these body parts. I'm going to go in the chat. I want you to go into the chat and tell me, where do you feel? Thank you. It's all good. Where do you feel it? Somebody said they felt it in their chest, their throat. Okay. Think about that anxiety thing that you just don't want to think about it. The heart. Who do you have to talk to? Who do you have to talk to about conflict? What's coming up? What do you have to do in the future? Okay, so people are posting places that they feel it in their body. Okay, so what you just did is you thought about a feeling, you thought about something. They're not called thinklings, they're called feelings, right? So you posted something, and it's hard in this chat to figure out, where it is in your body, but many of you posted you felt it in your chest. Me, I always just feel it in my stomach. When I have to think about that thing that's coming up, I feel it right in my stomach, okay? But let me ask you a question. People who've done tapping, they always ask, what do I say? I need a script. What do I say? All of us on this Zoom, we didn't use words. We were able to generate a bodily sensation with no words. If you're getting caught up on the words, you're paralyzing yourself because the confused mind will say no. Okay? Don't worry about the words as much. Go into the body. In fact, when I do trauma work, the person doesn't want to say the words. We just go into the body and they know the words. Okay, so the point is, don't worry about the words. You're going to tap, you're going to talk. But Tijana, what should I say? This is all you need to say. I feel, and then you finish the sentence. I feel anxiety in my stomach. I feel sadness and I feel it in my chest. I feel what? It's just, what are my words, Tijana? I feel, and then fill in the blank. Okay? I feel anxiety, and then just fill in the blank because it's not fair. Or I feel anxiety because I'm worried about XYZ because this happened or that happened. So the point of the matter is you're going to tap, you're going to talk, and you're going to tell the truth. So let's go back to the talking. I just said to you, you all came up with body sensations. All right. We know, like if somebody's coming up to us and we're going to have conflict with them because we know we have to talk to them, do we have to come up with words? No, we feel it right in our stomach or our chest. So what you're going to say is, I feel blank, sick, sad, angry, whatever, when I think about this future thing. Okay. And then you're going to say, because that's not fair, or I don't like how it happened, and they didn't let me know ahead of time. And well, I'm sorry, I was doing clinical, and they didn't let me know ahead of time. And then you're going to go into the details. There's a document attached that you can use, but basically you're going to tap, you're going to talk, and you're going to tell the truth. The number one thing is you have to tell the truth, because it's in there anyway. There's a lot of research that shows you keep suppressing these thoughts and you can only hold them down so long. In fact, one of my foster parents I was training, he calls it stow. You stow and blow. You push those emotions that you don't want to think about, you push them down, and then all of a sudden you blow, and it's usually not at the right place. Okay. So with tapping, we tell the truth. And I don't sit around ruminating all day on my horrible whatever I have coming up. I wake up in the morning and I have a gratitude list, and I usually try to meditate. And then if something comes up in my day, that's when I tell the truth. This is really frustrating. I thought I had this fixed, and now my computer's going down again. I'm so frustrated. I'm angry. This isn't fair. I paid for this already. Or maybe I shouldn't have paid for it. So what am I doing? I'm just telling the truth. So we're going to do tapping right now. The point is, you're going to tell the truth, even if it's not something really nice that you want to say. Or you can do what you're usually doing, stuffing it down there and holding it down. And make sure, if you're going to stuff it down there, do it with a smile so nobody knows, right? What would you do for a friend if they came to you and they wanted to share? You would let them share. So you're just sharing by yourself. Okay. You're sharing by yourself. So we're going to start tapping right now. And I'm just going to see if there's any immediate questions we have. What would you do with a friend? That's all you're doing with yourself. Okay. All right. We're going to get started then. There's nothing of an emergency here. Oopsies. So what would you do for a friend? You would let them come over and they would talk and they would tell you what happened and they would go on about it. And then what you would do is you'd sit there and say, oh, wow, yeah, oh my gosh. You'd let them go, and then probably you might give them advice. But at first you'd let them process it, right? That's what I want you to do. So we're going to tap, talk, and tell the truth. I'm going to get a sip of water here. You're going to want to know what it feels like. Tapping right now. Last week when we did it, there were several people that felt huge emotions. I got some emails from people who cried. You might not feel anything because this is a cramped time. I don't know where you are. So you might not feel anything, but typically people feel a sensation going through their body. They might feel a release. They also might cry, feel tingling, and yawn. So these are some of the things. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start with the side of the eye. And I want all of us just to tap right here on the side of the eye. And at one point, I'm going to ask you to go to the collarbone, which is right here. Here's a bone. Why don't you go to the collarbone? Okay. And at one point, I'm going to say collarbone. And you're all just going to drop your hand down. Now, for the woman I spoke to at one point, she said she was having arm problems. So she just tapped right here. Okay. So you can do that. So we have these 2 points. We're going to tap, we're going to talk, and we're going to tell the truth. I'm going to use my words. You might not feel anything because they're my words, but I want you to repeat after me everything I say. And if you can massage it to fit your situation, do so. But all I want you to do is let's go into our body and start tapping on the side of the eye. Take a nice belly breath and just say, this is a lot of information. Repeat after me. This is a lot of information. And I have a lot of anxiety. And I have some things in my life coming up. And every time I think of them, I just feel, what do you feel? Do you feel pressure in your chest? What do you feel? Say it out loud. When I think about those things that are coming up, I feel this pressure in my body. So much pressure. Let's go to the collarbone. What's going to happen with this? I'm afraid. I have fear. It's it's not going to go right. I'm so afraid I can't handle it. This unknown is frightening, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this overwhelm. I feel it on my shoulders. I want to release it. So much pressure. It's up to me. It's always up to me. And I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. And I choose not to think about it. I choose to release this pain. I choose to release this pressure in my body. It is okay to let go of it right now. I relax my body. I relax my shoulders. I release this pressure in my chest. I choose to feel peace. I choose to feel ease. Just for today, just for this moment, I release all this pressure in my body. I choose to be calm and peaceful. I choose peace now. Keep tapping if you cried, if you felt any emotions. Take a deep breath. Shake it out. All right, let's post in the chat if you felt anything, if your anxiety went up. That happens. Thank you. Someone said I felt a release. Someone said wanted to fall asleep. Wow, nice. Alyssa said her anxiety skyrocketed, but then it settled afterwards, calming. So these are all good things. If you didn't feel anything, I watch the video again. Wow, I felt my body releasing the stress as I spoke the truth. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for all of you. This is amazing. So if your anxiety went up, that might be normal because you are You're keeping it out there, right? You're keeping anxiety up in your head out there. I'm going to take care of my kids. I'm going to take care of my mother. I'm going to decorate. I'm going to be on this committee. I'm going to be on that committee. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And we just made you to calm down, right? So you finally landed in your body. And sometimes that's a scary place. In fact, I find people who do meditation come back to me afterwards and they're like, what happened to me? I mean, I had a woman do yoga and afterwards she calmed down and she had like a flashback. So I'm excited for you. I'm going to wrap it up here and we'll look at the chat in just a second. Let's see. Let me look at my notes. So what did we do? Oh, I want to show you public tapping. This is great for students. I teach this a lot in the schools. Students can't walk around like this. Okay. Even doing this might be a little obvious. But this is a technique. I call it, I'm so creative. I come up with these great words. This is called public tapping. It's really just pressing. So I'm going to show you my favorite places. Again, maybe you can find your own. So here's, this is what I do when I'm in public and I want people to, I want to calm down with anybody not noticing. So if your mother-in-law is causing you problems, I had a wonderful mother-in-law, so I can say this. If your mother-in-law is causing you problems, you can't be going like this. That'd be kind of obvious. Or your supervisor. So I'm going to have this public tapping. This is the webbing on your finger. It's not right here. I'm zooming in here. It's this space right down here. What do you do, Tijana? How do you make that work? You press. You could tap, but I don't tap. If you look at all my videos when I'm presenting or keynote, I'm pressing with my hands down like this in front of everybody because there's a lot going on and I have to think clearly. So you press and you lower your hands. Yeah. I have a YouTube that's called public. I think it's public tap. I only have like 4. YouTube is called Public Tapping, Tijana Coso probably. It'll show you them. It's this one here. Lower your hands. Or I do this one a lot too, especially when I'm walking because I can't cross my hands and if something comes up, it's pinching your fingers. It's pinching your fingers. I'm sorry, I'm zooming in so closely. It's side to side, not front to back, side to side. These are some other points they use for trauma. And I just use them when I'm walking and I'm thinking about something. I'll just start pinching the sides of my hands because I want to enjoy my walk. I don't want my brain to go over there. So one of these fingers isn't supposed to be tapped, but I don't tell you which one because I don't want you to worry about it. I want you just to tap, press like this, okay? So we're going to drink our water throughout the day. Here's the challenge I gave people from last week. I asked people, if you tap twice a day for 7 days, I was going to have a treat for you, a prize or whatever you want to call it. So after our 4 weeks, if everybody taps twice a day for 4 weeks, I'm going to offer a free 1-hour call for all of us together so we can practice this technique. So make sure you do that. I also wanted to say that if you have a question, you can email me at info, like information, at cosoconsulting.com. That's my corporate website, but right now I'm teaching you through my tapping project that I have. I call it the tapping project for like wellness. I have one for children, addicts. So this one's very simple for you to learn pretty quickly. They've let me get a little extra time to teach it to you this time. Let's see what else I want to give you. Oh, so I want to give you this quote before I leave. And it says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. And that's by Viktor Frankl, which is an amazing book if you read his book. But that's what we're trying to do, is create a space so we respond and not react. This is especially important when I work with, when I was working with the addicts. They need a little bit of pause button, and that's what tapping is. That's what I call my tapping project, trying to teach you how to pause, okay? Because if you try to pause by thinking, it's not going to work. The logical brain, the thinking brain, does not abolish any of your emotions, okay? So I'm going to go back to this, look at the chat. Anything that really needs. So Laura, I guess you can answer those questions in the chat.
Yes, I will, about access to the recording. So you'll be getting an email tomorrow with a link to the recording and any feedback you might have for Tijana.
Perfect.
You can
Thank
you can access all of the recordings from last week, every session.
Okay,
Last
so I
week's.
appreciate all of you. So for future anxiety, somebody came on earlier and said, what do I do about anticipatory anxiety? So this is what it would look like, okay? So I have to next week do something and I have to talk to somebody or I have to go in for a doctor's appointment. And I start going, all I do is I go, well, every time I think about that doctor's appointment, oh my gosh, it just makes me anxious. What am I doing? I'm tapping. What am I doing? I'm talking and I'm telling the truth. The truth is I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. Now, when I say the truth, it doesn't make it any more real. It's in there anyway. I'm just releasing a beach ball going, yep, there it is. I'm so afraid. Okay. So how do you use it for anticipatory anxiety? You tap on what's coming up and you say the truth. It's the same system. Okay. So I appreciate everybody who was here and invite more people next week. We're going to have a big tapping party at the end. So everybody tap twice a day. And if you weren't here last week, you know what that means? Yep, you got to tap 4 times a day. All right. It doesn't mean a lot. It could be just something like, I burnt my toast again. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Okay. That qualifies. So, all right. Is there anything else I need to share? Laura, you think I have it?
I think you have it. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank all of you. Keep tapping. Give this gift to somebody else. It's so easy. Thank you so much. We'll see y'all.